let me give you a quick overview of the break-even model. There are three costs associated with this model. There's labor, there's other, and there's supplies. Any cost that is not labor or supplies is considered other. Let's build this break-even model from scratch. On the y-axis, there's dollars, and on the x-axis, there's tests. As tests increase, the dollars proportionally increase as well. First, let's add labor, which is a fixed cost. It includes all salaries, wages, and fringe benefit expenses, but excludes pathologist and medical director compensation. Next, we will add the other cost. This also is fixed. And by adding labor and other at any point in time along this line, we can determine the total fixed cost. Finally, we will add the supply cost. This is a variable cost and it is tied to volume. For example, if the supply cost of a simple test is $3 and 3 tests are obtained, the total supply cost would be $3 times 3 tests, or $9. Also note the total cost line, which includes the cost of supplies, other, plus labor. The revenue line is then added, and it starts at the XY origin. It proportionately increases as it progresses up to the upper right quadrant of the graph itself. It's based on a single fee schedule. For example, $14 for a test. And proportionally, as test volume increases, the line linearly increases as well. So at $14 for a single test, $28 for 2 tests, $42 for 3 tests, and so on. Let me point out that at this point right here, the revenue is less than total cost. However, as we continue to sell tests and volume increases, the gap between total costs and revenue closes until it reaches a certain point right here where the total cost is equal to the total revenue, and we refer to this as the break-even point. Once revenue exceeds the total cost line, then we start generating profit. So now that we understand the break-even point, let's take a hypothetical test volume that we sell, and let's just call it at this point right here. So if we move up to this point, the point of intersection at the total cost line, we could move over to the y-axis and determine our total cost, which is broken down by the total fixed cost from here to here, and then the total variable cost from here to here for the supplies. And those two combined equal the total cost for this particular test volume. If we move up to this point on the revenue, move over to the left toward the y-axis, we can also determine the level of profit associated with this test volume that was sold. Let's now take a minute and redraw all of our costs on the break-even graph. I will leave the test volume at 1.5 million and the price at $14, and we'll set all of the expenses to 0. What remains is only the revenue line with no expenses at all. And you see that we generated 100% profit, or $21 million worth of revenue. Next, we add the supply cost, which was $4.8 million. And what you now see is the supply cost line, and at 0 tests, there is no supply cost. At 1.5 million tests, the supply cost, or variable cost, is $4.8 million. Total cost is $4.8 million, and this laboratory is generating $16.2 million worth of profit at 77%. Next, we add the labor expense, and that was $7.5 million. And what you see now is a fixed cost line of labor. The total fixed cost line is hidden behind this. We're now generating a profit of only 33%. And then note that the fixed cost of $9.2 million, because it's only labor here, is exactly to the $9.2 million here. Next, let's add the other cost, which was $4.2 million. And now we have the graph approximately to where it was before, generating about 13% profit. Let's now go in and look at what the impact would be of reducing the price that's being paid to this laboratory. Pay particular attention as I move this downward. What's happening to the revenue and the break-even point. At a certain point in time, it's now at $12.61. At this point of $12.15, which is our fully loaded cost structure for this laboratory, it's going to go from making a profit to actually losing money. Now that we understand how the break-even graph works, let's take a look at what this laboratory's cost structure is.
We have reached the end of this seminar. Depending on your browser, at the close of this presentation, you will be brought to our seminar feedback webpage. If this does not happen, please go to the link at the bottom of this slide and complete the feedback form. The information you provide will help us improve the quality and content of our educational programs. Once again, this is Rick Ouellette, and thank you for your time and interest.